All right. Good evening, everybody, again today. So today we'll continue with this third day uh, topic, which is about the post-reading stage. On Monday, we talked about the pre-reading stage. On Tuesday, yesterday, we talked about the wide reading stage. And today, we will be talking about the post-reading stage. So I'm like very happy to be here with you to be sharing more information about what reading is about. And you know, like your national state exam is going to be soon, so you all should be ready to face it successfully. Okay, so let's get started in. Post-reading stage, same as the pre-reading stage and the wide reading stage. At this stage, there are also some strategies that we or that you as teachers should know as well. For example, let me check the next one. All right, good. So look at that one now. It says recognizing the author's intention. What is that about? A lot of the times when students are given a text, they just read it, but the purpose may vary. Some of them read the text because they want to get the general information about it. Some others read the text because they just want to know some very specific information. But there's another reason why readers read text, and that's called recognizing the author's intention. Um, when you read a text, in order to get the author's um, main purpose of writing the text, you need to get the main idea. How are you going to get the main idea of the text? Remember that in this kind of text, the the purpose of the writer, as it says in my slide, can be explicitly expressed in the text. But some other times, the purpose of the writer is not mentioned, and it demands you to infer the main idea of it. Is that okay? So, just to repeat this part again, would you when you recognize or you want to recognize the author's intention, then the information may be explicitly expressed in text, but some other times it is not, and you need to infer what it means. Now I want to show you an example, and you will need to read the text, and then you will need to answer a couple of questions. Don't worry that I'm going to give you time so that you get the main idea of the next text. Is that okay? So, but before showing you the text, okay, I want to look at this part. For example, um, when an author writes a text, so he might write it because of many reasons. All right? Look at your screen, and it says an author always has an overall reason or purpose for writing a passage. If an author is writing about tornado, the writer could have many different purposes. For example, what are some of the purposes the writer might be expressing when writing such text? For example, one of the purposes could be to inform the reader about a tornado. That could be one purpose. Another purpose could be to compare that tornado to past tornadoes in the region. So you can also compare, the author can also be comparing the text he is writing. Another reason is to identify factors that cause a tornado. Then, or he might be analyzing a state's response to tornado. The author could be persuading the readers to donate money to a tornado relief fund. Could be also possible. Or many times the author can be describing one resident's effort to save lives during the tornado. So as you can see here, they when when an author writes something, the purposes may vary. It is not just one purpose, but the author could have many different purposes. Okay, to inform, to compare, to identify, to analyze, to persuade, to describe, etc., etc. Okay, so keep that in mind. There's not only one purpose when writing a text. Okay, now I want to look at the next text. All right, look at this text now. Okay, it's called Ainsley Harried. Um, I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes. I'm gonna give you exactly I'm gonna give you 6 minutes. Okay, I want you to read this text. Read it carefully, and then I will show you a couple of questions that will be related to this text. Okay, um, read the text, and if possible, I want you to try to get the main idea of the text. What is the author's purpose of writing this text? Is it okay? So you have 6 minutes now. Please start reading your text. All right, time is up. After having read the text, now I will show you a couple of questions, and I want you to respond both of them. Actually, we have 2 questions, all right? So let me show you. Okay, after having read the text, I want you to answer the first question. It says, what is the writer's main purpose in writing the text? What is the writer's main purpose of writing the text? And the second question is, which of the following is the best description of the writer? Which of the following is the best description of the writer? Okay, please take a couple of seconds to read the questions and the answers. Look at the choices you have and make sure you get the right answer now. All right, so Okay, now I want to post your answers. I want to post your comments. First one, what is the main, what was the writer's main purpose in writing the text? To describe how he lives, to explain how he started in TV, to say what makes him laugh, or to talk about his cooking ideas. Can you please post your comments? Can you please post your answers? I want to make sure if you got it right. Okay, so Rose, Roxana said that is letter A, to describe how he lives. Does anybody else have an answer? Giovanna said letter A as well. All right. So two of you ladies agree on answer A. All right. So Jeanette also said letter A. Describe how he lives. Good. I'm very glad you got it correct. Actually, the answer to number one is to describe how he lives. Yes, absolutely correct. That is the answer. And I want to go back to the text. Yeah, just give me a second. Okay, so we are, okay. Okay, so what made you choose uh, letter A? Because as the text says, this person is just describing how he lives, you know. So I just want to focus on the yellow on the yellow sentence or the yellow words I just marked. For example, the first one says, I lived in London all my life and just moved to a larger house with my wife Claire and our two children. He just started mentioning that he just moved. Then he said, we spent a lot of time just singing and dancing. It's just like mentioning his routine. My working day is divided between television and writing cookbooks. He continues saying how his life is, all right? Then like at the last part of the bottom of text says, I'm a home loving person, really. Then it says, I rarely go to bed before midnight. So this person is just trying to describe how he lives, all right? There you go, you got it correct. Now, how about the next question? Which of the following is the best description of the writer? What are your answers? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so if you chose letter A, let me tell you that that's not the answer. Okay, that's not the answer. The cook and comedian who takes great care about the way he cooks his food and enjoys listening to, that's not the answer. Of course not. Yeah. The popular, letter B, the popular TV comedian who enjoys cooking, watching football, and having a busy social life. Of course, letter B is not the answer because in the text he said that he rarely likes going out. He doesn't like going to pubs, he said. Okay, so he prefers being at home with the family and spending time with them. So letter B, it is not. Good. Oh, Joanna, Janet, Roxana, and Rose, all of you ladies chose letter D. Okay, if you chose letter C, Let me tell you that it is not correct either. So the right answer, as you posted, it is letter D. Absolutely correct. As the TV cook who loves making people laugh, that's what he mentioned at the very beginning of the text, watching football as one of his hobbies, and above all, having a happy family. Yes, this is what he said, that he likes being with the family, singing, dancing, and stuff, right? Very good. So what was the main purpose of this text? What was the author's purpose of writing this text? His purpose was to describe. As I told you in the previous slide, when an author writes a text, there are many purposes. To describe, to what? To what else? To compare, to infer. What else? Let me show it again. And it's here. Yes? To inform, to compare, to identify, to analyze, to persuade, and to describe. So in this example I just gave you, this author is describing how he lives. Is it okay? So remember that there are many purposes of writing a text. And this is a very good tip to work on with our students, because sometimes when we give them a text such as the one I just gave you, what do we do? We just ask some comprehension questions, but we do not go further. We do not ask them to identify what the purpose of the text was, okay, or what was the writer's uh, purpose in writing a text. So let's move on now. Okay, I don't know if you remember, this is what we talked about yesterday when we mentioned what literal and implied meaning are. What do they mean? Does anybody remember literal and implied? Do you remember my example when I said he is the black sheep of the family? Do you remember that example? What was the literal meaning? Okay, I want to do this exercise. I want to show you the slide one more time. All right, it is here. Okay, good. So, what is this? He's the black sheep of the family. What was the literal meaning? Remember, the literal meaning is because you translate a sentence, you translate a word, you might translate a phrase, a verb, sometimes the way you see it, okay? For example, this one, he's the black sheep of the family. If you translate it literally, it might mean exactly. There's a man in a house who looks like a sheep, but we know for a fact that there's not a man who looks like a sheep. That's kind of unlikely to happen, all right? So, but if we translate it with the implied meaning, now it makes sense. There's a man who doesn't respect rules at home. This is the way we speak, right? There's a man who doesn't respect the rules. This is the correct way we speak. But if we have examples like the ones in red, is the black sheep of the family, just so you might translate it literally or with the implied meaning. So after reading the text, let me go back to the slide now. Okay. Okay, here we are. So after reading the text, you can also Identify literal and implied meaning. I will show you this very clear example. Okay, here we are. Okay, there you go. Now look at that example there. It's a very short text. So it says, the umpire blew his whistle and the game commenced. Rain fell on the 36 men who struggled against the icy conditions to try to get a ball through the goals. It was going to be a grueling 4 quarters for them. But for me, I couldn't wait, nor could the 100,000 strong fans who could hardly keep their seats on it. The final day of the season. Where else would you be than Melbourne on a day like today? Like if you read it, you might not understand it because the information is not explicit. All right? Look at the first question. The first question says, what game are they playing? Can you see the name of a game on the text? Of course not. The name of the game, it is not stated. It is not mentioned in the text. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to find the literal meaning, or you need to imply what game it is? Of course, you need to imply what it means. So, can somebody tell me what game are you playing? What game they're playing? Can somebody tell me? What can you imply? Are they playing basketball? Are they playing volleyball? From the information you have on the text, what game do you think they're playing? Soccer. Merely says soccer. Does anybody else think of a different answer? Soccer as well. Go. Basketball. It's considered basketball. Okay, we have a different answer. Why is that? Why basketball? Why do you say they're playing basketball, or why do you say they're playing soccer? What makes you think? What information, what specific information makes you think they are playing basketball or they're playing soccer? Because look at this part. It says, let me see if we can like type here. Okay. You say soccer, but my question is, how many people play a soccer match? It's here 30, I don't know if you see, it says 36 men. Can the answer be soccer? Can the answer be basketball? Rose said for the word goal. Could be, okay, but it says 36 men. How many people play a soccer match? Jeanette said football. Even better, I guess. What kind of football? So in basketball, you need just 5 members. So can the answer be basketball? Roxana, can the answer be basketball then? Exactly, yes. So, but here it says 36 men. What game are they playing? Okay, if you said football, then it is correct. But we're talking about American football. Yes, and in Italy, there is a league that has 36 people in the field. Okay, it is kind of like soccer. It is like American football. There are 36 people in the field. Yeah, good. So it cannot be basketball. It cannot be basketball. Of course not. Yes, good. Next one. What season is it? What season is it? What season do you think is it? Winter. Mary says winter. All right, somebody else. Winter as well. Why do you say it is winter? Yes, if you said because of the icy conditions. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, we're back. So, Rose says because of rain, okay? Yeah, it says rain fell on the 36 men who struggled against the icy conditions. Correct. So we might think that it is not summer. Absolutely not, because it says icy conditions, so it is a very cold weather. And we know winter is really cold. Yes, yes, actually the answer is winter. Then, what match is it? What do you think? It says 100,000 strong fans who could hardly keep their seats on it. What match is it? Yeah, it could possibly be the final of a match. You see, it could be the final of a match. Of course, because there are a lot of spectators. How many spectators are there? 100,000 strong fans. Exactly. Very good, Janet. It could be the final match. Yes, so that is why there are a lot of spectators in, we could say, the stadium. Okay, in the stadium. Correct. Now, the last one. What does fans could hardly keep their seats mean? What does this sentence mean? What can you infer? What is it being implied with it? What does fans could hardly keep their seats mean? What do you understand? It says the 100,000 strong fans who could hardly keep their seats on it. What is that? What information is it being implied? Maybe it fans don't want to go to home. All right, good. They're enthusiastic. Yes, yes, absolutely correct. So yes, they don't want to go home. They want to continue being in the stadium, cheering their team. You know, they're very enthusiastic. Yes, they are more than excited to be watching the match. Yes, absolutely correct. It says they could hardly keep their seats. I mean, yes, they are very enthusiastic. They are not going to miss the game. Of course not. They are very, as Joanna said, they're very enthusiastic. They're very excited to be there. So of course they don't want to go home. Very good. So this is these kind of texts are the ones that our students should be given if you want to reinforce this specific strategy, which is called implied meaning. This is such a great exercise because it will make your student think further. It is such a nice uh, strategy that you as teachers should be applying in your everyday lessons. And believe it or not, this is not only for advanced or intermediate students, but it can also be worked with basic or elementary students, beginner ones, because sometimes we underestimate their potential and we do believe they're not going to be able to do or to work on this implied strategy, but they can do it with very simple exercises. They can easily do it, but of course it needs guidance. You as teachers are the ones who need you are the ones who need to train them to do it successfully. Yes, so this was an example about how to get the implied meaning in a text. Good. Next one. Okay, now we're just getting to the last part of today's presentation, and it is called recognizing communicative functions in written text, and we're also going to learn what the purpose of those text types are. Um, as you can see on this screen, there are four text types. What are they called? We have the descriptive text type, we have the argumentative, we have the narrative, and we have the expository text types. Okay? So what are these text types about? What are the purposes all of them convey? When we talk about the descriptive text type, uh, we are, as the word says itself, we will describe. But what are we going to describe most of the time? Take a look at this example now. This is a text. Now, this is a descriptive text type. What is the purpose of a descriptive text type? The purpose is to describe a person, a situation, or something. And the, the question is, how are we going to be able to recognize whether it is a descriptive or a narrative text? Are there any specific um, is there any specific information that makes us deduce what the text is about? Yes. Um, we know that when it's a descriptive text type, the use of adjectives are going to be all around the text. This text is about an elephant, as you can read. For example, it says, an elephant is the largest and strongest of all animals. It is a strange looking animal which has thick legs, huge size and backs, large hanging ears, a small tail, little eyes, long white tongue, and above all, elephant has a long nose which is called a trunk. An elephant is commonly seen in the zoo. It has hard found and it needs natural habitat. And its natural habitat will be. So we understand that it is a descriptive text type because the text has many adjectives, okay? And in this text, it is describing an animal. It can also describe a person. It can also describe a situation, etc., etc., okay? But keep in mind that it is descriptive because it is using a lot of adjectives, okay? A lot of adjectives. Okay, which one is the next text type? Okay. Okay. Now, we have now the narrative text type. As the name says it itself, narrative. It narrates, okay? And when it's a narrative text type, it usually tells a story. Many of the stories you read are called narrative text types. And how do we recognize, how do we know that it is a narrative text type? You can easily recognize it is a narrative text type because there is a sequence of events. So they are uh, some expressions like once upon a time, several days later, and finally, for example, those expressions can make you deduce or infer that this is a narrative text type because of the order it's narrated. Once upon a time, so like at the very beginning, several days later or several days after, you know, and finally. So this text type is just following a sequence. So this can help you understand, this can help you identify it is a narrative text type. Okay, then we have the argumentative text type. What is argumentative? Argumentative, the argumentative text type and the purpose it transmits is to convince someone of something. This kind of texts are based on opinions most of the time. The writer just tries to convince a person of something. It could be of a product, it could be of a problem, okay? For example, this text is just talking about drug abuse. And it is understandable that this is argumentative because just want to focus on the last part of the text when it says personally talking. It says personally talking. So the writer is just saying something because it is his opinion. He thinks that, for example, he says, personally talking, I do believe severe punishment should be carried out against those who break the rules regarding drugs. So he's just stating his own point of view, and he's just trying to convince the readers in general to follow his opinion as well. Okay? And besides the point, this kind of text also give, they could give statistics, and so their information can be based on some reports that some people might have said before, um, look at the general expressions now. For example, at the very beginning of the text says the position of the United States. So this writer is just mentioning the government, the United States position of America. It says toward drugs has always been very clear. Then it says drugs destroy the life of a person. So it's giving, it's saying something that might uh, call the attention of the reader, that might be appealing for the reader. So an argumentative text type is the one that focuses on convincing another person of doing something. Okay? And so we also have the expository text type. This one is based on explaining how something works. Okay? So, and it will give explanation. It might give examples also to explain how something works. What is the consequence of something? For example, very quickly look at the text you have in front of you, and it's mainly talking about a cigarette consuming. Okay, and this text is focusing on some negative sides or negative aspects if you consume cigarettes frequently. For example, it says, look at the very first part of the text says, there are some reasons why um, we must avoid smoking. What are those reasons? I just highlighted these expressions in red. Focus on the red word or red expressions, and it's for example, we waste our money. So he's just trying to say that consuming or smoking cigarettes uh, frequently will lead in wasting your money. So that is a consequence. Yes? What else? It says then, cigarette butt can burn anything. Of course, he's just saying that if you consume or if you smoke a lot of cigarettes, you are wasting your money, and at the same time you are like burning your money. Of course, spending money on cigarettes, what's going to happen? You're not going to have money, and it is like as if you were burning your own money. So then it says that smokers disturb many people around them also. Okay, so the expository text type is the one that focuses on explaining the consequences of something, or explaining how something works or how something should be done. Okay, so just to refresh what we did at the last part of this presentation, remember that we have 4 text types. Okay, let me go back to the slides. It is here. Okay, just taking a little bit longer. Just give me a second, please. Mhm. Okay, so um, remember that we have these text types. We have the descriptive, the argumentative, the narrative, and expository one. Descriptive one, as I said before, is the one that describes. It can be a situation, it can be a person, or it can be something. And you recognize it easily because it has many adjectives. Yes? It is argumentative. Why is it argumentative? Because it's just trying to what? It's just trying to convince another person, or it's just to convince, they just try to convince someone of something. Yep. And why is it narrative? It is mainly used for stories. Yes, it tells a story. Narrative, one tells a story, and there's a sequence of uh, expressions. And the most common one is when you say once upon a time, right? And then we also have the expository text type, which is the one that tries to explain how something works, or how or what the consequences of something is. Okay? So these are the four text types and the purposes each of them since me. Okay, so Isku said, is it possible to give us the information, please? Okay. Okay. So, yes. So if any one of you have any questions, so this is the time to let me know. Does anybody have a question? Okay. So remember that a you have been given before starting the this online course. You were given and we're giving some information which is printable. You can print it, and in that information you have like vast information of what I'm telling you. And remember, also remember that these videos will be uploaded tomorrow possibly, so you will have access to them whenever you want to practice, whenever you're going to read. So you will be allowed to watch session number 1, session number 2, and today's session as well. Good. It's okay, you know. Okay. Yes. In your exam, you will take, there are some examples of text types. It's going to be, I really want, I'm looking forward to you to taking your exams to see how you're doing, okay? For those people who just connected today, remember that for those who didn't take the first exam, this exam will be reopened tomorrow at noon, okay? So tomorrow, Thursday, you will have the chance to take your first exam again. And we are giving you this chance because the first sessions video has not been uploaded yet. So, you know, it's not fair you to take an exam if you didn't read the information, or if you didn't watch the video. Okay? So I will repeat that again. Tomorrow you will have your you will have session number 1 video uploaded. So you will have the chance to take it tomorrow again, okay? And just the expert told me that the video will be uploaded tomorrow as well, okay? So I'm just like, we're about to finish, my friends. So on my behalf and on behalf of the university, we really wish you the best. And I do believe that if you get ready on your own as well, so the chances of passing your national state exam are really, really high. So that's it. Thank you very much for your time. And as one of your colleagues said, that if it's possible to send you the information to your emails, let me talk to the expert to see if it's possible. And if so, I will send you all the information I have on my slide so you have access to it at any time. So one more time, thank you very much for your time. It's been such a pleasure to be with you. And if you have any doubt, any comments, you can just send me an email maybe. Okay, I'm gonna leave you my personal email so to answer some of the questions you have. Okay, so it's all right. So that is my personal email. If any one of you want to contact me, so you can get me there. Okay, so that is Andy Key underscore 90 at hotmail.com. That is my personal email. So if you have any like comments, any questions, so I'll be more than glad to help you all. So one more time, thank you very much for your time. It's been a tremendous honor to be here with you, not only today, but the 2 days before. Okay? Well, Merly, well, this has been my last day. Tomorrow you will have something, you will have Dr. Ernesto Ventura that he will be talking about something different. Okay? So thank you very much for your time, and that's it. Okay? Bye-bye. See you.